Hey everyone, we're going to do a video today on 7.8, which is more solving by factoring. Here's some extra examples. Make sure you are copying down the guided notes provided for you. And this is just a little supplement to help you guys out because we know 7.8 can be pretty challenging. So make sure you guys leave me a comment in Google Classroom or send me an email or do something to where I can help you guys out. Also, we'll be posting the answers for all the worksheets, but you need that practice. Please don't look at the answer key first. Go ahead and actually try them yourself. Go over this video a couple of times, see if things are clicking. All right, you guys, so I'll use little abbreviations and stuff that you might see on some of my paperwork and all that. So whenever we're solving a problem that has x squared and x, we have to solve by factoring. But before we even think about factoring, we have to have one side be 0, or in other words, if one side has 0, the other side has everything. So you guys, you always want your x squared to be positive, so we're going to keep him there. Well, if you do your little line of equality, you'll realize that the 11x has to get off the right side, and we'll get rid of him by minus 11x. But there are no like terms for him to put under. Now, if there is a like term, put it directly underneath there, combine like terms. But this one's going to be kind of a weird scenario because we have 3 places we can put it. In front, in the middle, or in the back, because we can't put it underneath either one of those. And if you remember descending order from section 7.1, you'll know that the letters have to go in order from biggest exponent to smallest exponent, ending with just a single number. Now, how can you remember that? Well, look at all the other examples that are given to you. If you look at number 2, I have my x squared first, I have my regular x second, and then I have just my number at the end. So when I do minus 11x, I'm going to kind of fit it in between the 2x squared and the 10. Now that I've done that, I can get my new equation. My new equation would be the 2x squared would drop down. Then I would put my negative 11x, and then at the end is positive 10 is equal to 0. Now, with that being said, I'm going to go back and actually change something up. I apologize, but I wanted this to be 5. All right, instead of starting the video over, I think we can all just erase 10 and put a 5 there. All right, now we're ready to factor because everything is on one side. So in my answer keys, you'll see a lot of times I say GEOOS, and that means get everything on one side, just a little abbreviation. Now I'll factor, and here's the hard part. You got to know which type of factoring to use. So if you're not sure, you can look back at your 7.3 notes. That's the greatest common factor. 7.4b notes, that is MA bottoms up, and 7.5 notes is difference of perfect squares or difference of squares. So you'll want to match this guy up with one of those sections. And when you do that, you realize this is an MA bottoms up problem. So I got a little scratch work to do. I do my M number, my A number. The multiply number is the front times the back, 10. The add number is your middle number, negative 11. And here is the hard part. You need to find the 2 special numbers. So at this point, I suggest that you pause the video and you try to think of the 2 special numbers that would multiply to 10 and add to negative 11. So pause it. Now that you've unpaused it, the 2 special numbers are negative 1 and negative 10. They multiply together to be 10. They add together to be negative 11. So now that I have my special numbers, I can continue with my factoring process. I set up 2 parentheses. I can't forget the equal sign and I can't forget the 0 in this problem. But they both start with x, and I put my special number and my special number. But I'm not even done factoring because I have to divide by the number in front of x squared, or my front number. Divide by 2, divide by 2. We got to get new parentheses. And remember, it still equals 0, and you can keep drawing your line of equality down there. This one is a fraction, so we will go ahead and do bottoms up in front of x. This one is a nice number, so I will actually divide it. Now that I'm at this point, you can go back and you look at your 7.6 notes. And this is the zero product rule. Since this is a times problem equals 0, 0 is the product, and there's a rule about it. And my little melody, we say front equals 0, back equals 0. I will take 2x minus 1 equals 0. I will take x minus 5 is equal to 0. To solve this, I'll add 1 on both sides. I will divide both sides by 2 and 1/2, or if you do a decimal, 0.5 is the correct answer. Here, I will add 5 on both sides, and I'll be done. All right, so again, whenever you look at my work, a lot of times I will say this step right here is get everything on one side. This step leading down to there is a factoring step, and in particular, I used MA bottoms up, and then when I set each of them equal to 0, it's the zero product rule. So those are your 3 steps. Get everything on one side, factor, use the zero product rule. Now number 2, I'll do the same steps. First thing I'll realize is there's not a 0. Now some problems will have a 0, and we've already done the first step for you. But this one, we have to do the first step. Get everything on one side. Minus 3 on both sides. Now there I had a place for it. He had a like term over there, a regular number. And there's even something special about this. They are going to cancel on both sides. Well, on the right side, you don't have to write anything for it, but on the left side, you do need a 0 placeholder for the left side of the equation. Now the right side, the 8x squared plus 6x drops down, and remember, these make a total of 0, and it'd be silly to put plus 0 at the end of the right side. So now that I got 0, I need to figure out which factoring method should I use. Greatest common factor, MA bottoms up, or DOS. Go back and you look at all your notes, and hopefully you realize they have something in common. Now I'll kind of slow down the greatest common factor here. I need 0 equals, but notice I leave myself a decent amount of room, because when I find my greatest common factor, I'll then need to find the leftovers. Well, I look at my factor sheet. What is the biggest number that 8 and 6 have in common for a factor is 2. Then I look at my letters. That has the letter x, and so does he, and I'll choose my smaller exponent. Exponent of 2, exponent of 1, I'll choose 1, so it's 2x to the first. But now I need to times it by the leftovers, and remember I get the leftovers by division. So I actually have to divide away my greatest common factor and divide away my greatest common factor. When I do that, 8 divided by 2 is 4, x squared divided by x is x. Then there's a plus sign. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and those x's cancel or reduce. So now that I have factored by greatest common factor, I can use the zero product rule. And then little melody says, front equals 0, back equals 0, or each factor can equal 0. I take 2x equals 0, I take 4x plus 3 is equal to 0, and I solve them separately. Divide by 2, your final answer would be 0. Here it's a 2-step process. When you minus 3, you will have 4x equals negative 3, and you will divide by 4 for a final answer of negative 3/4. And again, if you're using your calculator and you do a decimal, that's okay, but my key will have fractions. So whenever you have decimals on your answers, that's all right. Just take my fractions, divide them, and if they match up, you're good to go. So if you got negative 0.75, that is the correct answer. All right, you guys, I know this stuff can be pretty challenging, but just keep giving it a good crack at it. Try your best. Leave me comments on Google Classroom. Say what I can help you guys with, and I'll try my best. Other than that, I hope you're staying happy and healthy, not getting too stir crazy in your houses. I know that, again, I'm ready to get back to kind of some normalcy and see you guys. But again, remember that we're all here if you need anything. All right, you guys, miss ya. Have a good day, and it's your boy, Mr. P.